Back again. I wasn't expecting to be here today. I needed a day off, but Frank Tufano has done what I expected he might do. Hello everyone. Okay, we got audio working. But Frank isn't the only one that popped up this morning on my day off. There's another person who made a video that had another disturbing title. And I was warning about this yesterday in yesterday's live stream. And I didn't even need to click on those videos and watch them to know I'm going to need to cover this. And so I haven't seen it yet. But I guarantee you, these two characters, stream. Okay, I got Frank's video up right here. He has cut his hair. That's the only thing different I've noticed. And why is he outside? Well, better lighting. This is the guy who wears makeup, but well, maybe that could be important. You never know. So in just a few seconds, we're going to start watching. And I won't just watch it all, you know. I'll be skimming through it just to get the idea, and making comments, correcting him, and showing where he's just mistaken, or where he is just lying. I am an expert on telling the difference. And this guy, you may not know this guy. Well, I did talk about him a few days ago, showed a little bit of him. But can you tell some things just by looking at him? Yes, that is a bathrobe, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's some kind of weird outfit. Because this guy is weird. Hey, that was my word years ago. And it was by coincidence, I started using that word because of this guy. Okay. Everything looks good. Got the audios balanced here. Okay. This from the beginning of Frank Tufano's video, just put up hours ago. Oh, I got to tell you the title. That's what got me to make this live stream. Wait till you see this, people. Now, it might mean more to me than to you. That's because I am an expert at what I'm doing. Title, it's a question, one of those question titles. Watch out for those. Are they planning on offing the president? Okay. Some colors on that title. Notice he didn't. Notice the choice of words there, and he's probably just trying to throw off the YouTube censors, because you don't want to talk about this. There's a reason you never hear talk about this. Another thing is, so he used the word offing there, just to get by there, and maybe to not get the attention of another group of people. Along with YouTube censors, he might be trying to avoid the FBI. So another question is, what president is he talking about? I don't know. We'll find out maybe. Or is this just, this could be just a video where he's selling his products. And this was just clickbait. But you know he's crazy, and he really says more than most people say. He goes very far. So here's the beginning of his video, and it's talking about the election. I would assume it's about the election, the big news of Joe Biden supposedly winning. It's what it looks like when you watch the mainstream media. And it's not really so much about Biden winning as it is about Trump losing. Really? That'd be a first. Well, no, he loses a lot of court cases. He's lost 3 marriages too. So it's weird, isn't it? Okay, here we go.
The media is an incredibly powerful tool. In fact, the only tool that is needed to
pause. And I'd like to show you that I can guess what he's going to say. To show you I know what I'm doing here. If there's one political commentating group out there that's better than me, it would be the Young Turks, but they got a whole team. I'm just a one-man show here. I'm doing all kinds of great stuff no one else is doing. See, the media is so powerful. It is all that's needed to, and I know Frank. And I know this type. He's going to say it's all that's needed to destroy our civilization. Well, when has that ever happened before, Frank? I'm already criticizing what I think he's going to say. That's how confident I am. Let's just continue.
completely control the masses. They use media blitzes every...
And that's false. Almost everyone in the world is like Frank, skeptical. We learn to be skeptical. We see what's going on. Frank is pretending that he is so enlightened, kind of like Trump. Nobody knows this, but I figured it out. This guy has a big audience. When he talks like this, people like it. Come on, this is nothing new. But the news is basically the news. These scum right here, these are the anarchists that want to bring down all the world. They're actually suggesting to you, they're telling you that nothing you see is real. That is crazy. But maybe Trump's not real. Well, I've never seen him. Isn't he a figment of the Matrix, created by the media to distract you from the real news? See, I can do it too. I can talk out my ass for 9 minutes. Maybe this is why he's not in his house. He's talking out into a field where nobody could hear him.
every day on various nonsense, whatever agenda they're trying to push, even saying Biden is president. Apparently,
see, that's an agenda. Is he saying that the number 73 that CNN is showing, and Fox with their 290, they just made up those numbers? Hey, and that would explain why the numbers are different. They're just making it up, people. and the voting centers, but wait a minute. I mean, the vote counting centers are giving these numbers to them.
that's technically not official, but every single news outlet was put.
See, here we go. These people, let's see, you could call them fake extremist conspiracy theorists. Nothing wrong with coming up with theories, but this is just over the top, and it's either real ignorant of how our society works, how elections work. It only happens every 4 years, and this guy is kind of young, and maybe he's ignorant about this. I know Trump is, but he's both ignorant and corrupt, and a liar. So you never know which one is operating in their brains at the time. Makes it really tough. But I see where he's going right away. I was hearing this on Morning Joe this morning, where they were talking about this, how there's people out there saying, and here comes Frank, he's got his camera ready to repeat this same narrative, which is damaging to our society. He's going to bring up the idea, wait a minute, the media doesn't pick the president. Hey, I was saying that 3 days ago. And it's not the media that's picking the president. See, what's happening, Roy, is they're the media. You know, they report the news, and they're getting these numbers from the counting centers. By the way, I was reporting yesterday that there was a counting center in Philadelphia to be evacuated. You may have been, and this was somewhere around, I'd like to think the day after election day, where they were counting. So if you were wondering why the votes counting was slow, well, you can blame Trump supporters for causing an evacuation of the whole area with bomb threats, a felony. And you can blame Trump for slowing down the votes, the ballots coming in from the post office. All right. So the numbers come in, and the media, it's their job. They report the numbers. And sure, they're going to say, okay, someone has reached 270. They are the next president. But that's not them making that happen. And of course, that's unofficial. There's an official process that does happen. But Frank doesn't want to talk about any of that. He doesn't want his ignorant fan base of 100,000 people to know those details, because he is conning them. 104,000 now. These people grow a lot during election season. So here we go. Let's see if I was right.
Pushing that story so they create the truth. We even
see they're creating. No, they could see. See, Frank's taking these kind of extremist conspiracy theories. They take a theory and something that is possible and then they blow it up, magnify the possibility that, hey, the media could just lie, although they've never been caught lying before on a big scale, just little things. They could, and then just leave out other truths, the other half of the truths, to get your audience to believe something that is not true. And these people almost always get exposed over time. At some point we will know. Like on Morning Joe, I think it was, they were talking about how there's a lot of beliefs that centered around the 2000 election because it was so close. It turns out, they did a recount and did studies, investigations, and found out that the person who became president, Bush, did actually become president. He did win. He did win. But there's still going to be people that believe certain things. But the truth comes out, and we see that there's no huge conspiracy by the entire media world to tell us things that are not true. Let's keep going.
We saw this a few months back with meat processing plants getting shut down. It becomes
this guy eats nothing but meat, and the companies chose to shut down. It didn't last very long, and it was Trumpy, the guy who lost. He forced them to reopen, even though it was dangerous. A whole bunch of people getting the virus, and 2% of them die. It's 2%. It's not 1. Let's go back here. Let's go back.
incredibly powerful tool. In fact, the only tool that is needed to complete. They use media blitzes every day on very technically not efficient.
These steps come next before Joe Biden is officially declared. Right. But can you pick a time in history where the entire media got it wrong about the president-elect? No. So what is this guy doing? What is he talking about? What is his game?
Official, but every single news outlet with it becomes.
So he mentions the meat plants being shut down. Okay, currently shut down. They are shut down. They're closing. It says nothing about being forced to shut down there. So poor try, Frank.
It becomes incredibly obvious that the script is written and these media outlets are shaped.
Incredibly obvious. First of all, he took the word obvious, which it's not. Then he added an adjective, a hyperbolic adjective. Watch out for those words. Incredibly. And Trump does the same thing. He's a huge liar. It's incredibly obvious that he is. So much so, I shouldn't even need to say it's incredibly obvious, should I? But Frankie and Trumpy, they say things that, and then they say that it's obvious when it's not. And they say that it's obvious to get you to think that it's true. It's just another way of trying to con people.
Shaping the minds of the public, preparing them for what's to come. In this case, I couldn't overlook a dozen articles speculating what happens if the president dies. And before I saw these articles,
There's been talk about that. Me. I've been talking about that. But there's something else I wanted to say. What was it?
speculating what happens if the
He puts the word speculating in quotes. Either that's really lame, or he's actually trying to signal something. Let's see if we can figure this out.
In this case, I couldn't overlook a dozen articles preparing them for what's to come.
Yeah.
In this case,
Preparing them for what's to come. So Biden wins, a Democrat, which happens in cycles, because usually it's Democrat, Republican, and then it keeps on reversing because nobody likes any of them. Which brings up a memory that's not too much far in the distance when the media reported that Trump had won the 2016 election. Does anyone remember that? What was that? Was that fake too?
I couldn't overlook a dozen articles speculating what happens if the president dies. And before I saw these articles, some people were theorizing that
Okay, I want to see these here. What's up with
the president
this?
dies. And before I
Which president? Okay, this is it. I was right. They're not talking about Trump. They're saying, yeah, Biden is 79, I think. And so, yeah, we all, it crosses our mind. What if he should happen to die? What happens? I talked about this with two people that I live with. And they agree with me that the logic says if Biden dies now, after he seemed to win the election, what would happen? Who would take his place? And what I think, because of how logical I am, is that it doesn't matter if it's before he takes office or not. It's after he's won. And so if he died in office, of course, the vice president becomes president. We all know this from elementary school. And so it should be the same right now. Harris would be the president-elect. Oh, maybe that's what has people a little scared. People aren't scared of Biden. Biden's the least scary person ever. But if Biden would have died last month before winning, who would replace him as the nominee? And I said, and people agreed with me, it would be the runner-up in the primary that happened in the spring. And I know that everyone wanted to forget who that was. Yeah. Feel the burn. Well, it's too late now. Let's see. But why are we talking about this? Why is everybody suddenly talking about this?
I saw these articles.
What happens if the U.S. candidate dies before the election or inauguration? Part 1 of 2. What's the date on this? No dates.
Some people were theorizing.
What happens? What happens? I was talking about this before, right?
Theorizing they would off Biden so Harris could take its place. I guess those people were onto something. And president dies. And before I saw these articles, some people were theorizing they would off Biden so Harris could take its place. I guess those people were onto something. And I refer to Biden as it because these freakazoids in charge are definitely not human. They certainly don't act human. But seeing all these stories in the media made it more likely in my...
I gotta take a seat for this. Opposite land. Do I need to say anything more? Biden seems very normal. Harris seems normal. And so Trump comes out and calls Kamala Harris, a monster because she's so normal. And Trump took that specific words because people like me have been calling him a monster for months. He always does this. He takes words that are applied to him, and he's like a child. He has to call other people. I know you're a monster, but what am I? He's a monster. That's why he's been called the monster. And Frankie here is doing opposite land, saying it's all the normal people that don't act human. That reminds me, I've been making fun of Mike Pence, saying he looks like Data from Star Trek, acts like Data. This guy doesn't seem human. We've been saying this for the last 4 years, and Frankie here knows we've been doing that, and so he is flipping it around just like Trump does, the Trump flip. This is one reason I'm making live videos about this, to show you I can do this live. So I don't have a script. Now, I'm not saying Frank does. It's clear. You don't need a script for this. It's easy to make up bullshit. Shame on you, Frank Tufano. This is evil. You are damaging civilization. Sanitariums are made for people like this. So why aren't these people locked away? This guy's advertising that he's a threat to society.
My mind that they're preparing the public through this predictive programming for this to actually happen. And again, I don't know if Biden is technically the official president. You know, I was assuming there was going to be a lot more back and forth, create more chaos, but let's take it at face value right now that he is. One interesting thing is gematria, which is a system of assigning numeric values to letters. Joe Biden means end prophecy, and Kamala Harris means second coming.
It's like numerology and the Bible code. See, I know this stuff. It's all stupid. It's like astrology. It's nonsense. I'll bet you that every word you could come up with is some kind of hyperbolic word. And so you could take Frank's name and put it in there. You'd come up with something interesting. This is all stupid. And they were making fun of her name, Kamala. And just think about it. It's just... And I looked it up and saw that she didn't name herself that. Her parents named her that. That's her birth name. And no, she wasn't born in Africa or the Middle East. I think she was born in California. Now, Frankie boy, he's Italian. He should know better, but maybe he doesn't know his own Italian history. Oh yeah.
Harris means second coming.
Yes.
And
yes, I'm suggesting racism. There was a time when, there's still a time, when Italians were not considered white. And there's a lot of, back a long time ago, when a lot of Italians were migrating to the U.S., there's a lot of people who didn't want them to come in, saying all kinds of racist stuff about them. I'm part Italian, I should mention that. That's why I know that stuff. But I just learned this stuff recently. Frank's like half my age.
I mean, this is way too scripted out. You know, if I was going to off someone, and prophecy sounds about right, and Kamala Harris comes in, this.
Anyway, this is dumb. And over time, we will see that this was all bullshit. Because this is, well, you know, Joe Biden is going to die sometime. There's a good chance it'll be sooner rather than later. And so this all feeds into this. But what's the problem with Harris again? What's the problem? They're calling her a communist. Where did I hear someone say that? Anyway, she is so middle of the road that Democrats didn't even want her. Hey, they didn't vote for her, did they? She ran for president, and we didn't pick her.
Second
Anyway,
coming.
Let's move ahead because this is ridiculous. Who cares? People watch this stuff. Look at this.
Of his term, then the vice president-elect should act as president until a president shall have qualified. Once Congress counts the vote for the vice president and determines who has been elected to that office, that person becomes the vice president-elect. And months ago, there's been a lot of deceit and disinformation throughout this year, especially.
Another thing I'd like to point out is, you notice the way he acts? The way he acts, as in acting. Oh, it just hit me. This guy is an actor. He's done acting. Remember that movie? That some kind of student movie where he played a gay person. I forgot he's an actor, and he's good too. Yeah, I saw that clip. It was good.
But
look at
this
the way
could
he acts.
very well be something that pans out. It's a perfect setup. Most people know that Biden has dementia, is in poor health, it's old.
Poor health? He actually looks like he's in good health. And I just wouldn't be surprised if he made it through his term.
So people wouldn't be surprised when it disappears. What happens?
But who cares if the deep state wants Kamala Harris to be president? And why would they want to? And why are people like Frank so scared of it that they're willing to come up with conspiracy theories? Look at what they're doing. Who cares? Why does he care? Is the whole video like this? Yeah. Wait, there's something in here. What happens? Infection. Okay. Oh, we want to see some comments. Look at the people who buy into this stuff. Biden's top priorities, COVID task force, racial tension, climate change, rest in peace, America? We're dying under Trump. Racial tension. If he eases racial tensions, how is that rest in peace, America? Maybe if you think of America as a white nation, climate change is actually a national threat, a national security threat. That's a fact. Oh, I know about facts. Yep, Biden is neither president, not your president. Maybe if he's not your president, maybe you might want to leave. I hear Russia is pleasant this time of year. They are gaslighting the whole world. The election is not over. Well, I agree with the election's not over until it's tough to say. But gaslighting. See, once again, a person who doesn't know what gaslighting means. And it's very ironic that they don't know. How much do you want to bet? How much do you want to debate? None of these people will debate. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention. Check out my video here. Where's the... Huh. It was back... I challenge any Trump supporter to a debate. Or non-voters? Anybody. That was October 24. This video did much better than most of my videos about politics. We put on a good campaign here at the Carburetor channel to try to get someone to debate me. No one wants to debate. As a matter of fact, this guy apparently has never debated anyone. Is he another bullshitter? We're going to watch. We're going to watch him just in a minute. Let's see. What about this bet that Biden gets the virus? They created all along for this reason. And that's they just took crazy up a notch there. I can't wrap my head around that one. How much do you want to bet he gets the virus? Actually, you could. You know, presidents have to meet with a lot of people. But he'll recover from it because he'll be the president. He'll be tested every day and he will get the best treatment. Presidential treatment. Yeah. Plenty of evidence for voter fraud. Yeah, I covered this yesterday. I royally debunked all of this narrative about voter fraud. But who cares? Right, and look at the views that I got. Who cares about the truth? People would rather believe in their narrative. You know that. See, it's all on the Democrat. All on the Democrat. No. Democratic side, no. Republicans are the biggest cheaters. There was one person caught voting twice in 2016. She voted for Trump twice. Got caught. Got caught. Which means you can't get away with that. Hey, any dissenters here? Nope. Look at. No one has disputed me in the comments. But those empty comments, I must be doing good. Okay. Let's see. How much do you want to bid? So I wouldn't bet that guy. Ooh. So now I'm the Styx. What's that guy doing? Technical problems here. Oh, here we go.
Alright everyone, for the purposes of this video, we're not assuming whether Trump leaves office or not. It really wouldn't matter what the SCOTUS decision that appears to be pending will be. And of course, everyone's doing the Clarence Thomas meme, because Clarence Thomas on SCOTUS, the person who mainly raked him over the coals with regards to the so-called affair that he had, which who cares at this point, that was Joe Biden. And so now Clarence Thomas gets to be on the court that decides whether the election's results are actually certifiably legitimate. But here's some advice to Trump. Don't wait to see the SCOTUS decision or anything like that. Immediately begin breaking all of their toys. And by that I mean this.
Yeah, what does it mean? So what got my attention was his title. I haven't seen this video. Title is, "Hey Trump, break all their toys." That's a nice figure of speech that got me to click on it. But I see what he's saying now. But we're going to take a look at some of his other titles. He makes a lot of videos. And I haven't seen everything he's doing since the bad news.
And this is something I'm seeing suggested by leftists too. Pardon Julian Assange. Pardon Edward Snowden. Pardon Bradley Manning. Pardon all of these people that have revealed to our country various crimes from the deep state. So many federal inmates that have really committed no actual crime or are in there for extended sentences for no reason. Get them out of prison. Basically commute their or issue a pardon or whichever you prefer. Get them out of prison. Make a big show of it. Rake the system over the coals. Begin to declassify related to some of the U.S. Overseas efforts throughout time, to spying on its citizens, to violating the Constitution in the most blatant manner on a fairly constant basis.
Trump did that all over the place. But these people don't care.
Declassify internal reports showing this. Break all their toys.
Break society. That's what he's talking about.
Trump is in the enviable position where he can play up not only to the people who voted for him, but the left, and leave Joe Biden basically a big stinking mess in terms of the
Wow. I've never gone blank like that before. I can't believe I'm not getting comments. What do you think, people? There's no comments. Comments. Comments working? There I am. Yoo-hoo. Is humanity awake? Go back and watch my live video from yesterday. See, it's this crazy nonsense that gets all the views. This is what people hear. They don't hear rational talk. When you see that video, look at the view count. Why is that?
The left that congealed behind him, at least for the most part, if not enthusiastically, taking them potentially and alienating them from, so that his presidency is crippled from day one. Trump, even if he loses this...
Why would you want to do that? Notice the Democrats didn't do that. They never do that because they're decent people. Republicans would do this kind of stuff. They're low. They only care about, it's so clear that they only care about their party, not America. And people vote for them.
This particular presidential bid could come back in 4 years on the I helped you out and I told you so campaign sort of platform and completely crush the Democrats.
He's talking about crushing. When I wrote the title of this video, Disturbing Videos, I've already said I hadn't seen them. And when I wrote Disturbing Video, I didn't know, but I was more right than I imagined.
In addition to the very high degree of likelihood that the mainline Democrats over the next 4 years are going to lose.
If Republicans, conservative people found a Democrat talking this way, you know what they would say? They'd be flipping out and they'd be saying exactly what they're already saying. Without seeing it. They just make it up in their mind. That's how evil and crazy these people are. Why can't people see that?
Lose leverage against the left anyway. The left comprises an increasingly hostile and increasingly energetic, although smaller, core of the voting base. A younger one, a more dynamic one, one that's more tech literate. They are slowly displacing at least part of the mainline Democrats. This was Biden's problem during the campaign. You can't take an issue on form, site suggests. Well, then he goes to the left. The leftists like it, but the moderates are like, well, I'll pay for that. If he says he's against it,
why does he hate half of America? And you know what these people say? They say, why do Democrats hate half of America? They're so awful.
Moderates are like, okay, that's fine. They don't care about it. And the left says, well, Joe Biden hates the environment. Joe Biden wants the world to die. And they'll go full Greta Thunberg. This was a problem for him. Trump up the ante and make that problem for him so much worse by potentially doing things that will out-Herod Herod, so to speak. Imagine that he manages to swing left on these issues like pardoning Snowden, pardoning Assange and stuff like that. Those are widely supported by the far left. Trump can outdo Joe Biden, leaving him nothing to potentially accomplish that's feasibly capable of getting through the legislature, especially with the GOP. Keep that in mind. It won't always be a Harris tiebreaker if that sort of situation occurs, and I'm pretty sure the Republicans will eke out 51 seats. So, I mean, Trump has been spending the last 4 years saying, well, you know, the media is coordinating with the deep state politicians. These people are corrupt. This is the swamp. Expose, therefore, the swamp. Give people undeniable, declassified proof that these sorts of things are happening. And, of course, I know that they're happening. Trump knows they're happening. Most of his fans know they're happening. A lot of America's asleep. If Trump starts breaking the toys on his way out...
What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Trump is a mob boss.
of office, he can come roaring back in 4 years regardless of what happens. And that's, of course, there's no... Right now, the betting market still holds out a 10% chance Trump ends up in the presidency anyway. They're doing all sorts of recounts in Georgia. You've got proven irregularities in Michigan. Yes, it is feasible.
Oh, they're down to irregularities now. That's all they got now. And they want all of the irregularities to be the kind of irregularities that helped Biden. Well, if they're irregularities, it wouldn't work that way.
Possible still at this 11th hour that we end up finding out that the election had enough fraud and enough glitches, or they'll probably just blame the latter. They'll cover their asses somehow and blame the machines to flip the election. It is absolutely possible. Is it likely? No. But if SCOTUS gets involved, you've got a 5-4 Supreme Court probably in favor of Trump. Certainly Trump's the one that the 3 justices he appointed will want. And Clarence Thomas is no friend of Joe Biden. That's 4 justices right there. And Roberts almost doesn't matter. He's a liberal. He'll side with the left. Essentially repudiate Joe Biden just out of animus. Now, of course, the SCOTUS is not supposed to do that, but every human does have bias. Meanwhile, Trump should focus on doing things, as he potentially, at least, leaves office, that will benefit the country, expose his enemies, and set the groundwork to, again, basically fire an atom bomb into the incoming Joe Biden administration, crippling him completely. Trump can save us so much trouble by crippling the incoming administration if that happens, but he's got to start doing that now. You got 2 months, regardless of what happens, to break all of their toys. Bring the whole apparatus down. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Trump has openly campaigned on wanting to drain the swamp. Well, you know where the skeletons are and which closets. You know where the bodies are buried. Fucking expose it. Start declassifying criminal probes into various political...
Start. Dude, he's got nothing. The guy's golfing. So he's probably aware of him. Get this message. I just realized the least we could do, the least that could happen is we could report this video. Wow. The views. Wow, that's scary and sick. So we could at least get this video taken down and somebody report this guy to the FBI. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this video. Looks like we're having buffering problems too. But I'm done anyway. Thumbs up this video, subscribe because I got more stuff. lots of variety to cover about this election. Bring you stuff, the best stuff that you may not have been seeing. All right, and share this video, get it out there to people. Otherwise, it won't get out there. My videos are not getting out there. And thanks for watching.